homesteading to prepping to common horse sense, we are College Hill Farm. Welcome back to College Hill Farm. Well, today I've got a project to do, and I'm going to need to use nuts and bolts. I had a viewer contact me by email and ask me how he knew what kind of nut or bolt he needed to use on his tractor. He had lost a bolt and he didn't know what kind of bolt to get. None of that. So I'm going to talk about the types of bolts and what they're used for. It's not going to be a long video. It's not rocket science. It is mathematics though, so we're going to talk about that. Now, when we talk about bolts, what I've got here is a 3/4 inch bolt. Now I'm going to use this on one of my carryalls to weld on. But now this is a zinc coated bolt. It's green. Okay, it's a zinc coated bolt. I would have bought one not zinc coated, but I couldn't find a 3/4 inch bolt local. The way things are right now, I couldn't find a 3/4 inch bolt locally that wasn't zinc coated. So I'll have to grind that zinc coating off if I have to weld this. But this is a zinc coated bolt, 3/4 inch. Now, what we talk about bolts, when we talk about them, we talk about shear strength. In other words, what it would take to break this bolt straight off. Like if you had a piece of metal right here and you just cut straight down on it, what it would take to break that. We talk about shear strength, which very few tables have that in it. Then it talks about tensile strength. Now what they mean is this. If I've got something hanging off of a bolt that's screwed on like this, and there's something pulling straight down, based on the diameter of this bolt, you can figure out the square inches of it. A 3/4 inch bolt, I don't know how many square inches, I'd have to do the math, but you could do a 3/4 inch bolt, you do half of that, half of the diameter, square it, times it by pi, and that would give you the area of the bolt. And they're rated 1, 2, 5, and 8. And there's actually a grade 9 bolt, but I've never seen one. Anyway, how much this will hold based on the diameter of the bolt, the area of the bolt, called cross-sectional area, how much it will hold straight up. It might say it's 150,000 psi or 25,000 psi based on the grade of the bolt, and you can look it up on a chart. Well, generally what happens is if you take this, you take the diameter of the bolt, it's only going to hold a fraction of that. For example, it's only going to hold 20%, 25% of the pounds per square inch. Okay? But I digress. A good example is a standard 1/4 bolt. And this is a 3/8 20, but a standard 1/4 bolt would hold 1,700 pounds for 10 seconds before it started to deform. And that's the way that tensile strength is figured out. It says that the tensile strength is 150,000 psi if it's a category 5 bolt, or a category 5 bolt, and 180,000 if it's a category 8 bolt. But the diameter is so small, then it's going to be a whole lot less than if it was, say, a full inch in diameter. So this bolt, for example, might hold 1,700 pounds for 10 seconds. But it might only hold 1,700 pounds for 10 seconds. it might only hold 1,200 pounds for 10 seconds. Okay? You know, it might hold 1,200 pounds for, I don't know, 20 seconds. So you've got to go by that is. But now, by looking at the bolts, how do you determine that? How do you determine their value? Well, assume that any bolt you got is a grade 2 until you can look at the head. And now, let me get my other camera turned on, and I'm going to show you the heads of these bolts here. What I've got is I've got a grade 5, a grade 8, and a grade 2. Now, metric is different. 6.4, I think, on metric is equal to a grade 2. 10.6 is equal to a grade 8, and 8.8 is equal to a grade 5 in metric terms. Now, metric also has something called 12.6, which is the highest tensile strength of all the metric bolts. I have seen the 12.6. I've never put one in nothing. So, there's that. But I've seen it. Now, let me get this other camera here. I'll use it for the close-up shots so you all will get some idea of what we're looking at. If we look at this bolt right here, you'll see that on this bolt, get out of the shadow. On this bolt, there's some writing, and there's these crosshatch marks. I would like to get closer and still have light. Okay? You can see that there is a mark on every side of that hex head bolt. Alright? There's a mark on every side. That is a grade 8 bolt. That's the highest tensile strength bolt you can get. So if it's a 3/8 grade 8 bolt, that's the highest tensile strength 3/8 inch bolt that you can get. I'm looking for just straight marks, not writing. So you can see on here that there's some writing, but there are no marks. So that's a grade 2 bolt. Take a look at this one. How many marks do you see? You see 1, 2, 3. Pay no attention to the writing. It really means nothing. Okay? So that's a grade 5 bolt. Now looking at this big one, again there's some writing telling you the manufacturer, but see how many marks do you see? There's 1, 2, 3 marks. Those 3 marks let us know that this is a grade 5 bolt. What does that mean? Well, normally, let's take an example of a trailer hitch on a truck. If you're going to put a trailer hitch on a truck that pulls light duty trailers, it's probably going to use a grade 5 bolt. If you're putting a trailer hitch on a truck that is pulling heavy trailers, like you're going to put in a fifth wheel or whatever, you'd probably use a grade 8 bolt. Does that make sense? Grade 8 bolts and grade 5 bolts are case hardened. Now, they're not necessarily hardened in the center. They're just case hardened on the outside. And the threads are cut after the bolt is hardened, so that the threads are tougher than a number 2 bolt. Does that make sense? Now, most places that I know around here, when they sell a grade 5 bolt like this one, these zinc coated bolts, they sell a zinc coated washer or zinc coated nut to go with them. Okay, got a zinc coated nut that goes with them. But now, I've never seen a zinc coated washer. So, washers don't have a grade. Alright, I'd say this one's grade 2. They don't have a grade because there's no stress generally on a washer pulling it apart. Alright? Nuts can be graded. Okay? Nuts can be graded. But they're not called grade 8 or nothing like that. They have their own nut grading system. But generally, if somebody sells a grade 8 bolt, they'll sell you a nut to match it. But the opposite of that, grade 2 and grade 5, most of the time, you can only get a grade 2 bolt, or grade 2 nut. And again, there's no washer grades. So, if you've got to replace a bolt on one of your pieces of equipment, look at it. When in doubt, do the bigger. Generally, a lot of things, a grade 8 bolt looks chrome. A grade 2 bolt is just silver looking, like this. But now, some grade 8 bolts are silver looking too. Alright, but you have to go by what is on the head. You saw how we did that. If it's got 3 dashes on the head, it's a grade 5 bolt. If it has no dashes on the head, it's a grade 2 bolt. And if it has 6 dashes on the head, or in other words, 1 dash for every flat side, it's a grade 8 bolt. And again, a grade 9 bolt, I've never seen one, but I know they make them. Okay? Now, if you like this stuff, this homesteading, do-it-yourself kind of thing, be certain to come on out to the channel and subscribe. We do this homestead stuff every week, sometimes 1, sometimes 5 videos. Just depends on what's going on in the homestead that week. Now, if you hit the little bell when you come to the channel, it'll notify you when we upload a video. We upload every Sunday. Now, with that being said, it's time for me to get on to the next thing.